Hello, my beautiful ladies and gentlemen. How are you feeling? We are coming live onto the Diamond Beauties. We are coming live onto the Tanzanite Heroes. And the reason for my glasses or my shades, as Laura will say, just look behind our spotlight author today. He's got two beautiful, and I actually don't much belts. Uh, World champion belt. So that's the reason I went and bought my children's glasses. Can I just tell you something? It is like pressing very hard here, like Randy's one. I've got the only glasses that's funky is on the children's section. So we are truly blessed to have Randy as our spotlight author. So let me ask everyone to quickly introduce themselves, and then if there's one message that you want to give Randy, I know Krista have a beautiful message for us. Um, sorry for this. My beautiful ones is my grandchildren. So let me just stop here. Oh, I cannot do now. Speak to you now. Sorry.
Well, if you let them know that we are interviewing a world champion, they might think that's pretty cool.
That's
No,
true.
I said to
Give
my
a shout out
grandson,
to them.
I'm gonna interview a world champion, but he say boxer, but I didn't have time to help him. But I will make sure to help him. So, my beautiful Laura, please quickly introduce yourself and give one thing that you wanted to tell Randy.
So we're not asking him our questions yet, right? We're just talking about him.
Yes, just talking about him. So here is my talking about you, Randy. My glasses is like your two beautiful belts that you have there at the back. Can you see all the glitter and all the beautifulness?
Cool.
I love the bling bling. Love it.
I actually would like to wear one of those belts. I think I would have to like sit and hold it in my lap because they look big. Are they big? Because they look like they're big.
They are big, and I believe they weigh roughly 10 pounds a piece.
Oh, I can handle that. I've got that. Laura Brennan Ballet, author, thought energy expert, speaker. You know how I feel about this. I don't want to talk about myself right now, but thank you for the opportunity, Randy. I just want to say it is an honor to bring you into what I call our global authors team, this beautiful opportunity that we get to speak with not only fellow authors, but true champions of life. I love this book. So many parts I wanted to like reach out and just call you because there's synergy, which I'm sure we all feel with you, just that champion within. I'm excited to ask questions, but thank you so much for taking the time and really gracing us with your presence and your beautiful champion energy and what you've gone through to be one of those outliers in the world. Certainly inspires me. So thank you. And I'm excited for this episode.
Thank you.
Thank you, my beautiful Laura and my beautiful miracle man.
So I am Howard Brown, Mr. Shining Brightly, the original. I'm here and I am an author. I am an inspirational award-winning speaker and a podcaster. And Randy will be on my show next Wednesday, and it's reaching 100,000 people around the world. Thank God. I'm so glad to share Randy with that. And so, Randy, I just want to give you a boom, boom, and tell you how proud I am because you got up off the mat, you've learned from life, and you are helping others. And I am most proud that you have now lifted up others with Buddy on suicide prevention, awareness, and education. And I love you, and I love your book, and I love what you stand for.
Beautiful.
Wow, beautiful.
Thank
you, my miracle man. Krista, what do you have to show us?
I'm trying to be my like boxer,
put the hoodie on. Put the hoodie
here.
on. There you go.
I don't know if that works. But yes, my name is Krista. I'm from Ontario, Canada. And I wrote the book, Skip the Pain, Experience the Pleasure. I inspire people to cut the crap that's holding you back so you can live the life you love. I'm also a speaker and a coach, and I use different modalities to help people live the best life. And Randy, I was so inspired about your book. I actually read it twice. Um, so many times, like Laura said, I literally could have had a coffee with you and want to have a conversation to say, really? Me too. And, kept going on. But one thing I think Howard took a little bit of was, reading my mind, is that I'm so impressed with how not only are you a world champion, you got off the mat, and you are also empowering with Buddy as well to do, suicide prevention and awareness. So that just truly, speaks volumes for your character. So glad to have you here.
Wow, so beautiful. Thank you, my
Thank
beautiful
you.
sister. My beautiful buddy.
Yes, thank you, Sinette. And Randy is my partner in the suicide space, and there is no place in my heart that doesn't get filled because of his energy, his passion, but also his humility. When I met him, he didn't tell me he was a 5-time world kickboxing champion. He told me he was the world's greatest dad. And being the world's greatest dad was so important that that's what he led with.
Yeah.
And people need to understand that there are exceptional people who walk among us every day, and he is definitely one. And yet he wears his humility as proudly as he does his championships. And so that to me says volumes, and it's the exact reason why when he asked me to work with him in this space on suicide prevention, I said, oh, not yes, but oh, heck yes. I'll clean it up for the audience.
Wow, my beautiful buddy. And I am a little bit tearful today, so please excuse me. But when you said when you said he said he's the greatest dad, what amazing is that? Because a lot of people really wants to go and say how a world champion 7 times, they would have started with that. But it shows you how amazing you are. You are a soul, heart-to-heart person, Randy, that you started off with your daughter. And how incredible is that? So thank you so much, Buddy and Randy, for what you are going to do. Oh, I'm so sorry, everyone. Can I just ask you something? Laura, may
Yes.
I give you the floor? I will be back. Will
Go
that
ahead.
be okay?
We've got it. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
We
you.
got you. We got you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
Well, take your time. Well, I'm sure, Randy, someone in your position, you know what it is to receive when so many people want to express, right, how they feel and probably think about you and what you've done. But as Buddy said, and that's something I thought that what I looked at is this personal love letter to your daughter in the book. And I did not know that that's how you introduce yourself to Buddy. So, Buddy, thank you for sharing that. That's really beautiful. And again, I think it's why we all naturally, not just reading the book, but we really feel this connections. When you came on, I didn't know who you were in the beginning either. You just have this energy, and we're all just sitting here, right? But we can feel and pick up on the goodness of people and the heart-centeredness of people. And certainly, I'm going to use that word, the champion that is within all of us. And Howard is, again, such a beautiful example of that. And the work that Buddy and you are doing. I won't spoil anything with the audience, but this is something near and dear to my heart, the suicide prevention. I've reached out to the two of you. We'll be talking soon. I think it is absolutely an integral part of what we need to do as leadership in the world, whether it's bullying, which you mentioned that you went through, Randy, and all of that. So thank you for sharing everything. So I'm going to just go right to the floor. And Mr. Howard Brown, would you like to begin? And questions away for the champion.
I do. And so, champ, I am so, I love your story. And everyone goes through, I call it, we all get knocked down in life, right? And in business and in relationships. And you've been knocked down more than most because you actually do this professionally. But take me through the story, your bullying story, because I want people to know that it wasn't all just roses. You worked hard to get where you're at. But the core story is you got bullied in school. If you could share just a small snippet of that with people and what your auntie did for you and your mom did for you, I'd really like people to hear that.
Yeah, so I was 6 years old, just a pretty easygoing guy, quiet, just love life, just, you know, easy with the water. Pretty much every day after school, I would literally get my head raked across the fence, slapped, punched, call it every name in the book. And I was just such a nice guy that I just let it happen. I figured if I don't do anything, just let him do what he wants to do, he'll leave me alone. And he did. But literally every day at the end of it, he would make this weird noise. And I said, okay, no big deal. So this went on for, a few weeks. And my aunt actually picked me up one of those days. And next thing I know, I'm in the backseat of the vehicle. She looks back to ask, how's your day going? Or how was school? And she just sees this big wad of spit, like a big loogie just rolling down my forehead. So that's exactly what that noise was, that kind of noise. But yeah, at the end of the day, I still have daunting feelings about that. But in the grand scheme of things, I was watching a movie called Bloodsport. So that was with Jean-Claude Van Damme. And my aunt flipped out. She said, hey, I'm going to tell your mom. She says, your son's getting spit on. And really, my mom was like, well, cool. Let's enroll this guy into martial arts. And so I'm watching this movie, watching this guy do splits, do kicks, and I'm imitating the moves. And next thing I know, I'm in martial arts. And there's something about martial arts that brings out confidence in you. And I had maybe 4 or 5 lessons or so. And I just remember the bully trying to attack me and do the same headlock and spit thing. And I swung at him like mosquitoes. And that was that. And so that was kind of my story from there. But yeah, I was bullied and karate saved me.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I wanted our audience to hear that, because you know what, you thank you for auntie, thank you for mom, and thank you for the confidence that you got back to stand up for yourself. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think it's such a beautiful testament to right embracing our vulnerabilities. Here we are looking at a 5-time world champion, and it's still, I get choked up, right? No one wants to know that someone's hurting someone like that. So I think your story, Howard, can you step in?
Yes. So the story actually reminds people that you had people looking out for you, and that also you got the confidence to be able to actually, as a 6-year-old, it is just sad. Okay, bullying still exists in many forms today, and I wanted you to pull out that story piece because I again, when you look at you with belts, okay, and I look at you as the human you become, the dad you've become, it wasn't always that way. We all have gotten knocked down. And so I wanted you to share that small sliver of vulnerability to people to relate, okay? That you have, and you've overcome way more than that. But even as a 6-year-old, okay, you got spit on and you got your head raped across the fence. And that is not fair. It is not fun, but it's part of your life story and and what you've overcome. Back to you, Laura.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to apologize for the emotion, because
No.
that is the beauty of storytelling. That is why we are all authors. That is why we are sharing the spotlight with Randy, so that we can inspire and empower and uplift other people that maybe haven't gone through the exact same experience, but we can relate to right triumph and really stepping up and over the people, and not to put judgment, right? Because obviously ignorance is right out in the world, but to remind people that even if you were knocked down, absolutely not only can you get back up many times, but you can champion your life and then reach out to other people. So thank you again. Thank you. So Krista Rose, what's your question for our champion and author?
You're on mute.
Thank you. First of all, I am so amazed of how we're all coming together, and like I feel like I'm almost reading everybody's mind. Howard, like your thing was right there. So I literally was going to ask the same
It
thing.
shows you the show's not pre-programmed. We're we
Exactly.
freelance.
Just
We
to
ask
show
what
you
our
people.
emotions feel.
That story as well for me really resonated for so many reasons, and I think not just the part that you got bullied, the part that you let it go, that you thought, you know what, I'm just going to kind of take it, and then how things switched around. One of the things I really wanted to point out is that not only are you a champion, but you're so humble about it, and that speaks loads of your for your integrity. Having said that, getting back to some questions, I'm going to read a little bit because I did try to write specifically a little bit. I'm not going to quote, but when you're talking about how you sunk into a depression, you're losing weight, you stayed up all night, you're sweating, and no matter how much you people try to look like everything's going good, how everyone pretends on the outside things are well, how great life seems to be, that you really have no idea how what's going on with people on the inside. And you say never give up. So can you explain a little bit to our audience about some ways that you never gave up? What propelled you to keep moving on and moving forward?
Yeah, so one of the biggest things I had was, God to lean on. And I had great parents. That was probably my strongest thing I had going on for me, because why I fell into that depression was I was on top of the world. I had just won another world title, but I tore my bicep, and I didn't realize the severity behind that, because although I won the fight, now I'm in the middle of a lawsuit, and then I've got two dying grandmothers within 3 months of each other, and that really took a toll on me. And it's kind of like that hurt deer. The other deer wants to kick you when you're down, and that's exactly what I felt in that moment, because I couldn't be an instructor. I couldn't give back. I couldn't be the person I wanted to be, because in my mind, I was always Superman. I couldn't be hurt. And I had to learn a lot about myself then. And so I lost a lot of friends. I lost a lot of fans, that they just, because I couldn't be the person that they wanted me to be. And so all I had to rely on was, I had a good mom and a good dad. And they motivated me every single day. Most of the time, I would just cry all day. I just wouldn't eat. And this went on. And all I can say to the audience is, you have to look down the road. And for me, my parents, and then also finding out that I was going to be a dad, I believe that also was another saving grace. Just finding out I was going to be a dad, it was like, whoa, well, I can't do that no more. I can't sit on the couch no more. I can't cry. I can't, pity party. I can't be mad at the world, because at the end of the day, the world really doesn't care. So I think writing the book, I think having great parents, all of these were the small ingredients to me turning my life around, and now making that pivot point of saying, hey, don't worry about the weights. Yes, they're weights, but we can't use this to just sit down and cry and just expect the world to feel sorry for you. We could do that, but we're not going to get anywhere. What we can do is take these weights, use them as stepping stones, and now we can now rise above. And that is what I am doing.
That's fantastic. It shows me how you found a higher purpose, a greater
Yeah.
purpose. And it didn't have
Yes.
to do with just yourself or the ways. It had to do with more the world and love and peace, and how you're inspiring other people today. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Really beautiful. I love that. Just to reiterate a little bit what Krista was just expressing, and Randy, those stepping stones, right? Some people can still take all of that responsibility, having a child or getting back into the ring or becoming, a parent, and that could have added on, but really finding that way to recalibrate those challenges as stepping stones to something greater. And as Krista said, the purpose in someone else. Very, very blessed that you had this relationship with your parents. I think that's probably something that really was a saving grace in your life. And as I'm sure you know, and Buddy and all of us, not all of us had that type of relationship with our parents to help us. So I'm truly grateful to your mom and dad for supporting you and being there. But then I really, again, your relationship with God, and everyone has a different, maybe higher connection, whether it's universal force, the God energy, but it's so important to believe and have faith in something outside of yourself, which you've expressed so beautifully. And certainly your daughter, right? That, wow. What a reason, right, to get up and carry on. So congratulations on having a very beautiful, shining bright, right, child in your life there. Mr.
Yeah.
Buddy Thornton, your questions, please.
Well, I want to share just a little bit. Randy and I obviously have a little closer connection, but I got blessed on Monday on Eclipse Day. I got to watch Randy pick strawberries with his mini boom, and it was so awe-inspiring to see that even though he was on a business call with me and we were working on the nonprofit issues that we need to work on, he's standing in a field with his 3-year-old picking strawberries. I got to watch her chomping down on a strawberry like it was the last strawberry she would ever see. She had this big smile on her face, and it was like, this validates Randy. This validates Randy. Now, I know, Randy, you wrote the book because you wanted your daughter to get the real story. And you wanted to counter-oppose it to what could possibly be out there in social media, because social media is all enduring. It's forever. It will never go away. So good, bad, or indifferent, it's there. So can you explain from your heart what it means to leave this message for your daughter?
Man, it means everything. It's like, Laura pointed out, I wrote a letter. That letter was the first thing I ever wrote. And the idea behind that was to put it in her safe, because she has not a safe, but it's a piggy bank. It's a metal box, and she can't open it until she's 18 because I won't give her the password. But the idea is to always put money in it. I put whatever little thing I can put in there, quarters, dollars, fives, hundreds, whatever. But by the time she's 18 and she graduates, she's going to have a lot of money. But I wanted to leave her a letter in there. And the letter was just so she can have a blueprint to life. Because sometimes you can get sucked into society on what the world wants you to be. And I know as a young lady growing up, that can be very tough sometimes on your image. And so for me, I wanted to write the letter, but that's how the book came about. And it's just about the legacy at the end of the day. So for me, writing the letter, putting it in the book, it was for her, but yeah, it's going out to the world, but it's also so she can have after I'm gone. Hopefully I'm around, God forbid, but mainly it's for her to now pass down to her kids as well. And hopefully I can be around for that. So.
Well, I wanted to add one thing. It's very important that people in the audience understand that when Randy and I go into a city, we may do an event that's paid with adults and sponsors, and woo! But we also do some pro bono work, and we go onto the campuses and we speak to the kids. And I've got a video clip of Randy doing a presentation with a group of people, and he pre-planned this kind of on the spur of the moment, but he had this young man in the audience, the smallest kid there, get him down and 3 count him and tap him out and be the winner. Randy, can you just give a short snippet of that? I know it's not on your book, but can you just give us the motivation of why you work with the kids that way?
Well, because that's all I wished I had when I was coming up. And so that young man, I know he's the future. You know, it can't be all about me. I've had my time, and now it's my time is to get back to guys like him, because pretty soon he's going to have the torch. And if I can do anything to spark that young man to stay motivated, to stay in his martial arts career, okay, that's what's going to keep this evolution going on. And that's why I do what I do. It's all about the kids.
Mm,
So that actually is a mentorship is leadership moment.
yeah.
That kid will never forget that he pinned the world champ. You just lifted that kid's spirits. He's going to move mountains now. That's a beautiful story. That's beautiful.
Thank you. Thank
Love
you.
it.
Yeah, thank you, buddy, for bringing that to the forefront, and Randy, and sharing that. And again, this is, there are people, and I know we all have met people in our life like this, but Buddy and Randy going into this environment, this very vulnerable environment. But you can imagine that young man, as Howard was saying, something in his cellular makeup, right? Deep in the biology, the way I look at quantum elevation in his mindset, that now seeded something of greatness in him, of confidence in him. He'll always have that to look back on. And I think this is the beauty of leadership and the work that we do as authors, and sharing our stories and spotlighting. Yes, a champion, but such a champion at life. Before you were that champion. So this kind of brings me to around my question. I love principles. All of what I do is based on 5 principles. I think they're very important. I think they're empowerment pillars to society, right, to civilization, but certainly within ourselves. And I know that you have your principles: courage and discipline, perseverance, respect, integrity. Which one of those principles do you carry within your heart all the time?
That's a really good question. Well, I picked those 5 principles specifically because I do use all of them, but I would say the one that I carry in my heart and the one I use literally every day has to be self-discipline.
Yeah. Yeah.
And and the reason why I say that is because without discipline, you can't get anywhere in life. Nothing's going to get done. None of your tasks. You have to have discipline. And it's not even so much about becoming a world champion in the ring. This is about becoming a champion in life. If you don't have discipline, we are almost a failure. Although failure is your best friend, I believe in failure. You should fail often. But to overcome that, you have to have discipline. That's what's going to keep you moving forward, to get your hand raised in victory for life.
Wonderful. Thank you. Yeah, I was thinking about that because, of course, all of those principles have such power behind them, and impact and intention. And I was thinking, I have my second question for it. And I'm really glad that you answered, because that's what I tuned into what you would answer, which is why my second question is what it is. So I feel pretty cool that we aligned in that way, but I love the way you explained it. It's a principle. It, again, is an empowerment pillar of how everything else falls into place. And that goes back to the story of being on the couch and being depressed that Krista asked you. That discipline to rise up, to create stepping stones, to start to have a purpose higher than that depression. And that's what got you back in. So thank you so much for sharing. Mr. Howard Brown, do you have another question?
So we are such like family, because I want to segue right from there, because you weren't always that disciplined. I want you to tell the story, Randy, because of when you were the young buck on tour, on the Chuck Norris tour. And I want you to go and tell the story about the circle around the current world champion, Mike Shepard, and what you learned and how that transformed you, because that's a really cool story. And it's really important, because how you got to be disciplined. So tell that story. What was happening on tour then?
Oh, yeah. So, and that's really why I wrote the book, guys. Just so people can see, the titles are great. I love him. I cherish him. But I wasn't always this guy. I had to start somewhere. So basically, in the book, I was a partier. I was a bouncer. I was making $10 an hour, working Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights. I was choking people out. I was doing all kind of things I shouldn't have been doing. But yeah, I'm not proud of it today, but it is a part of my story, and I have to tell it so it can make sense with the belts. But martial arts led me to kickboxing, and I was bouncing at the same time. And I had two fights. I had two amateur fights. I had one professional fight. I got invited to a Chuck Norris World Combat League, and literally Chuck Norris himself. So that's actually how I got my nickname, Boom Boom. So I hit the guy with the spinning back kick. I dropped him. He gets back up. I hit him again, and that's how I received the nickname Boom Boom. Now I was on cloud nine. Woohoo! Knocked the guy out. I got my first big win in front of Chuck Norris. He was excited. He was like, "Oh man, I'm glad to have you in my league." So now I just think I'm just Michael Jordan now. A few months down the road, we end up having another fight. I fought a guy by the name of Mike Shepard, and he beat me on points. So I was pretty bummed out. I suffered my first loss. And after every fight, you have what's called a post-fight party. You just celebrate all the fighters, all the media crew, camera guys. We all get together, hang out, whatever. Mike Shepard walks up to me, and he says, "Randy, you fought a really good fight, and I just want you to know you stick with this, you'll be a world champion one day." And so it really went in one ear, not the other, because I'm just bummed out. Because nobody likes to lose, and when you lose, I don't care who you are, it's like a loss in life. You don't want to hear what somebody else has to say. So roughly maybe 3, 4, or 5 minutes after we exchange in conversation, I look over to the right and I see this big crowd as if there's a fight going on. So I look over, it's Mike Shepard in the middle. And it's 20 guys from different teams surrounded Mike Shepard. And so I go over there because I'm just kind of curious what's going on. And Mike's just talking, rambling off. And he's talking about how he prepared for me for our fight, and how he prepared for other fights, and how he prepares and down the road in the future and in the past. And to me, that was my aha moment, because he was doing things I was not doing. I was still drinking pop. I was still eating terrible foods. I was staying up all night, doing all the things I should not have been doing. But Mike was doing the opposite of that. And when I say the true word sacrifice, that's the word, sacrifice. He sacrificed any and everything in your mind that you can allow your brain to let you think. Mike sacrificed and focused on nothing but training, family, and I have an opponent to take out. And so guess what Randy Blake Jr. did? I did just that, because that was my aha moment. I stopped all the cheeseburgers, all the late nights. I gave it all up, because I said to myself, if I'm going to be able to compete with this guy down the road or with anybody else, I have to do what these guys are doing. And after that, I made a commitment. It was a mindset and a commitment. I did that. And I literally went on a 25 winning streak. And so 4 years down the road, guess who I ended up meeting? Mike Shepard. But this time it was for a world title. It happened to be in my hometown, and the story was a little bit different this time, and I ended up getting my hand raised. But I owe that testament to Mike Shepard. I can't take the full credit for that. Now, yes, I put the discipline, I did all those things, but had I not had that conversation with Mike Shepard, I don't think we'd be here having this conversation on this podcast. So kudos to Mike Shepard.
Yeah.
So Randy, thank you for sharing that, because I was so drawn in by that story, because he saw something in you. He said, Mike, Randy, you can be a world champion. And then you went and you basically sort of as the master and the intern, you actually at him and you modeled some of the things he did for sacrifice and discipline. It's powerful because you made it happen, but he saw something in you to do it. And I just think it's a very powerful story of how you can transform and overcome. And it's a beautiful thing. And thank you for sharing with that story. Really important.
Thank you.
And I think, Randy, too, again, even though when you were in that speaking engagement, that young boy, it is that same thing. There's seeds that are planted, right? There's an structure of energy right through our language and our behavior and our choices that really do affect and have impact, and on other people that we don't realize. You could have easily taken that attitude, that aspect of personality, and walked out of that room, right, and been pissed off, but you didn't. You observed what was going on. You were curious. You went over, you realized what he was sharing. You listened. And then, as Howard said, you took that. And I think that's such a strong statement here to really empower for the listening audience that, hearing about something is one thing, but really exercising, right, the discipline and taking action so that, as you said, you had that foresight down the road. When I see him, you wanted to know I am prepared differently than I was here. And so again, beautiful question, beautiful, empowering response. And I love that so much. Miss Krista Rose.
It's always amazes me how the conversation with this group is so synergetic and just flows, because I was focusing on the same thing. Randy, you were talking a little bit about while you're following your dreams, there's like a metaphor, like there's a ditch. On one side, there's perfectionism. On the other side, there's the temptation to go and do whatever the heck you want. That takes courage to stay on track and to stay on following your dreams. But I'm wondering, has there, and I'm assuming there may have been some times that you were forced, maybe tempted to veer off the track, and maybe you did fall off track. And if you did, maybe you can share a little bit of how you got back on track and didn't stay in that ditch.
Yeah, that's a beautiful question, by the way. Yeah, because at the end of the day, none of us are perfect, right? And we all have this mindset sometimes that when things are going our way, it's so easy to stay on track. You get a raise, you get somebody gives you $100 million. Yeah, it's easy to be great, right? It's so easy. But what happens when you get a flat tire? What happens when you get cut off the basketball team? What happens when you lose a fight? What happens when you lose fans? It's not fun. And so that's when that mind plays in the back of your head, like, you know what? It's okay to go back over here and, eat some Twinkies, eat some pizza, be lazy. You can do that. You can get away with it. And I've had multiple times where I lost a fight and you take a week off, and then that week becomes 4 or 5 weeks, and then it becomes 2 or 3 months, and you haven't done anything because you're still stuck in the moment from that fight, wishing that you can go back and if I would have jabbed instead of throwing the right hand, or if I would have bobbed instead of weave, if I would have did X, Y, and Z, maybe that outcome would have came better. So to answer your question, yes, I have fell off the road on the side of the ditch. But to the audience, what I would suggest is that's okay. Just don't forget your why.
Yeah.
And so that was always my saving grace is, what is my why? Why am I doing this? Okay, yeah, I ate the Twinkies, I ate the pizza, I did all that stuff. But now the why for me was, okay, I have a title that I want to keep, or titles, or I want to be the best that I can possibly be. So that was always my spur of the moment to get back up off the couch and get back into training.
That is fantastic. I'm glad you said that, because one thing I noticed is that you didn't say you beat yourself up that week, or you punished yourself, or you stayed in this guilt and your shame, because we all do fall off track in life, right?
Yes.
having said that, you noticed that there was to get back on track, and you followed your why. So instead of beating yourself up, yeah, you had a Twinkie, yeah, you had whatever it was, you didn't stay there, but you followed your why. So that's really, really an important point that I noticed in your answer. So I wanted to just thank you for that, because so many of us, I know for me, I can fall off the wagon, or get off my vision to my dreams, and I can say, man, why didn't I? How come I did this? And stay in that and beat myself up. But so thank you for bringing that point back up. Great
My pleasure.
answer.
My pleasure.
Lovely. Mr. Buddy, your next question.
Well, welcome back, Sunit. And,
Yes, welcome back.
Randy and I do get a chance to talk quite often. And as an ex-athlete myself, I know exactly what it feels like to end your career.
Mm.
But the one thing that every story that Randy has told in this show circles back to one thing that I call the most empowering part of any journey for a champion. One of my mentors is Dr. Brene Brown, and she says you have to live within your vulnerability to reach excellence.
Mm.
You have to. You have no choice. So how does your locus of control and your ability to simultaneously be willing to share all of your vulnerability unabashedly, totally without any shame? I mean, you share the good, the bad, and the indifferent because you know there's value in being as opposed to doing. I mean, what you did was you became a 5-time world champion, but that's not who you are. So connect your vulnerability and your ability to share and empower others by being very transparent. Connect that to how it empowers you.
Yeah, so that's a great question. It empowers me just based off my foundation in martial arts. So when I got into martial arts, it was because I was being bullied. The longer I stayed in it, I loved it. I built confidence. My grades got better. I started making friends. There's a lot of things that come with martial arts. Then you get into it, you become an instructor, and then you realize, okay, now I'm getting degrees in martial arts, 1st degree, 2nd degree, 3rd degree, 4th degree. I'm in 5th degree right now. So what that means is I'm considered what's called a master. The goal is to become a 10th degree. A 10th degree is you are now a grand master. And that is my empowerment, because in order to be a grand master, you have now, it's what I would call, to the people who are listening, Buddy is a grand master. You are the example of what it means to be a grand master. A grand master doesn't mean you have all the bells and the whistles. It doesn't mean that, you can do the best punch or the best kick. You can do the punches, you can do the kicks. Being a grand master is simply this. You have lifted up everyone around you to become just as great as you are, or if not better. So that is my empowerment to why I do what I do. This is why I give back. This is why I share my stories, because I don't want to be labeled as the guy who went and hid behind a rock. I have all the skill sets, I have all the knowledge, but I can't help nobody. And how often do we see that in today's society? You have all these people who are millionaires and they're all these gurus, but then you go ask them, how did you do that? They don't want to tell you. They don't want to help nobody. And so to answer your question, yes, I've did, I'm still doing, but now it's time to be in a state of being. I have to be an example. And the only way I can do that is through my work. So it can't be so much about my talk. It's watch what I'm doing. And that's going to be me being my example. So hopefully that answered your question, sir.
Well, I just want the audience to understand that as we go through our journey, this is the reason why I embrace Randy as if he's one of my children. Not there's nothing greater. There's not a greater connection between sharing passion to save and help other people. And when you read Randy's book, not only is it a journey of moving from a very negative space through some trying times, failing at basketball, failing at basketball, but that wasn't your passion. You found your passion, and then you tried to look beyond it to basketball, and you realized, why am I walking away from my passion? And so you pivoted back and here you are today. So I just want the audience to understand that the journey is not about being a victim. It's not about vulnerability, but it is about using those aspects of your life to become more than you are. But don't anchor on what you do. Howard doesn't anchor on what he does.
Right.
Howard anchors on what he is, who he is. Krista, everyone on this panel has that type of story. But Randy, yours is unique and extraordinary. Our blessings.
Yeah. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Miss Sinette, I have one more question, but since you are back, would you like to take over, Madame?
Now you can go continue. I quickly just want to read something out of Randy's book. If you, my beautiful, beautiful house, and I said beautiful twice because you're doing such an amazing job. I was watching from the back and I was talking to my grandchildren. Um,
I cried a little, but that's okay. That's Randy just brought that out in me, so
oh, that's amazing. Can I just quickly read something out of your book, my beautiful
absolutely.
Randy? To
Absolutely.
all my fans, I can express how thankful I am to have had each and every one of you in my life. Without you, my career wouldn't exist. I'm thankful for literally every ticket sold. Every ticket sold, even if it was the worst seat. Wow, I was blown away by this because even if it's the worst seat, for flying all over United States and all the way to Japan, I want to say thank you for being in my journey, in this journey with me. So Randy, that was on the last page of your book. And I quickly looked at the front, and when I looked at the back, I was like blown away. Because do you know how many important people out there in the world just are happy that they have fans, but you have said thank you to your fans, even to those that didn't have a good seat, but still paid to come and see you. You are amazing. So thank you. I just wanted to do that. You are welcome, my beautiful Laura, to continue.
I love that. That's such a again an empowering perspective, right? Looking at it from that viewpoint that there are those of us that maybe will never meet the champ, won't sit up in front, right? Won't be what I call the fancy pants up in the front by the ring, but we are there. And Randy, for acknowledging all of those beautiful spirits and souls that connected with you somehow to travel, even if it's an hour drive or it was a 7-hour drive, let alone a flight right across the world. And I think that matters to every person that is going to listen to this, that is going to read the book, that again, back to what we all recognize in you, and Buddy has so eloquently shared, that it is who you are, not what you do, that I think is touching all of us. So thank you. I really don't want to ask any question because I love how it just ended, but I really, because I'm all about empowerment and I know you are too. Um, what can you say to the listening audience that would empower them when the pattern of excuses is overtaking the needed discipline? And I know you talk about the no excuses, and that's something that I've discussed too. So when we are all in that pattern of getting off in the ditch or eating the Twinkies, but you know that there's a discipline needed so that you can become a master at something, what can you offer the audience to help
Mm,
in those moments?
that is really that is deep. You just went off into the deep end of the ocean. I like it. I like it. Yeah, because we do live in a world where everything is watered down.
Yeah.
And I think it has affected us so much, and it's hard to find that motivation, even for myself included. Um, my biggest thing and advice, what I would give somebody is you need to check your 5 closest friends,
Mm,
because if you're hanging around somebody who's lazy, always, negative, don't want to do nothing, can't figure it out, don't want to ask for help, it's going to rub off on you. Now, how did I learn this? I learned this in martial arts, but I give this a testament to my grandmother, because I remember she used to always say this when I was a kid: birds of a feather flock together.
Yeah.
And I would go, Granny, what does that mean? That wasn't like, that doesn't make any sense. Birds of a feather flock together. But the older I got, the more I realized who you surround yourself with, that's exactly who you're going to become. You want to know where you're going to end up in a year from today, like 3 years from today, 5 years from today, 20 years from today. Check your 5 closest friends. Why am I at where I am today? Because I'm in this chat room with 5 beautiful, amazing souls.
Yeah.
I'm in great hands. I know where I'm headed because I got people who I can count on. Yeah, I got people like Buddy. I always call him Mr. Miyagi. I can call him up at any given moment and ask him for some serious, validated advice. And I know I'm going to get the best of Buddy. And so that will be my answer to your question is check your 5 closest friends.
I love that. I love that. So no excuses. And it's okay to let go of friendships that really are not serving, right, your highest and best self. It's not a judgment against someone else, but it really, for me, is, if I'm hearing you correctly, and bringing that word in ownership that you write about too in the book, of your own journey and how important it is to show up for yourself. And sometimes we have to release relationships that really aren't in our best interest, when we're certainly trying to be champions of our own life, of our children, of our partnerships, of our community, of our teams, and everything we're here. There has been some really beautiful comments in the chat box. I won't go through them all, but there are people engaging in very impactful discussion here. So there are people that are commenting and enjoying, Randy, you being in the spotlight. So I'm going to hand over the baton to our beautiful Miss Sanit, but thank you for allowing me to step in. Randy, you are the boom boom. I love you. You are an amazing human being. Thank you for Buddy bringing him in. And again, these friendships really matter to us, and you are now part of the family. So thank you.
Oh, wow. Thank you, my beautiful Laura. So going forward, this is going to be the panel to discuss other books. So, Randy, you are part of the panelists. I didn't ask before, but you are part of the family. So, how incredible. So, if there's some of us that cannot be in a show, then there's still enough of us to ask questions. We will be the panelists for all the shows going forward. Just want to let everyone know we will be starting the show off from the 15th of May.
Okay.
Then we're going to start off with all the illuminated authors in the Diamond Moment magazine. So all of us has to read a few books before we can do that. So we're going to take some time off, and it also will help me a little bit because I'm traveling to Phoenix, Arizona. I'm going to see Buddy. I'm going to see Howard. I'm going to see Krista. We're going to go to New York. I'm going to go to Omaha, Nebraska, and I'm coming back to Dallas for a few days before going back to South Africa. So that will give us some time to see more people around America. But then we will be ready. We will start off with our illuminated authors from the Diamond Moments. And then as soon as we finish with that, we will take it to the next level. And probably we'll have this show on the network by July. On
Yes.
the network, so there will be more exposure and everything. So I just wanted to say thank you so much, my beautiful Diamond Beauties and Tanzanite Heroes, for being and giving us all the comments. And even when the show is done and all the replays, there's so many ladies and gentlemen that look at the replay. So thank you for that. Then I want to say thank you, my beautiful Laura, for being an amazing host. You had just a way of putting words together. It's beautiful. Thank you, my beautiful Randy, for being an amazing father, amazing person, and truly an inspirational icon.
Yeah.
Thank you, my beautiful Krista, for just being amazing. I know I use the word a lot, amazing. My husband told me the other day, please go and get the dictionary and change the wording for amazing. I said, why? Amazing is like amazing. I
Amazing.
love amazing. I love amazing. So,
Appreciate it.
my beautiful buddy, thank
Mm.
you for your beautiful words and what you and Randy is doing, not only for the youth, but for the youth's parents as well, because as for me as a parent, if my children are not doing very well, and I know there is people like you and like Randy that is going to mentally help them, then that will give me a sense of, I know I need to do some work on my side, but it will give me a sense of um, there's other people looking out for other people that's got problems and they wanted to help. And the both of you are very impactful. Buddy, I've got the highest respect for you. Your words, everything you say is like true mastery. Is like Randy said, you are a true master. So I will also say, Mr. Miyagi, and I have pronounced it right. I was practicing before saying it. I
Yeah.
was
Yes.
waxing on,
Yep.
waxing off.
Yeah.
And then my miracle man, every time I see you, every time you send me a message, and you send me sometimes a message at the right time that uplifts my soul. You will not know what miracle you are in my life. I want to say thank you for being here and thank you for being amazing. We've got 3 more minutes. I'm gonna go quickly past everyone. How are you feeling? And then we will give Randy the last word. My beautiful Laura, how are you feeling?
I'm always honored. It's really to know that out of close to 8 billion people in the world, this is the family that we've created. It's something very special. Each and every one of you are in my prayer work every night. I do not take this for granted. And Howard, thank you for stepping in when I could not hold back the emotion. I was thinking of little Randy getting picked on, and I just couldn't hold it back. So thank you for stepping in for a moment.
My pleasure.
My beautiful Krista?
I'm feeling absolutely grateful to not only be exposed to this amazing group, but Randy, to have had the pleasure and the honor to read your book, look a little bit into your life, and have you be vulnerable and answer these questions. Because we did dig deep, and you came back and was such an inspiration to me, and I know so many of our listeners. So thank you.
Thank you. And my beautiful buddy?
You know, when I walk into a room and when I interact with people, I get repelled by people who cling to hubris and self-aggrandizement. Those are two words that will never be in any form, shape, or existence in Randy's life.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to self-aggrandize. He's lived a life. He understands what projecting and being is as opposed to doing and then backslapping. So to that, I mean, every time I think about that, it just makes me realize, you know what? Humility is our strongest strength.
Yeah.
And people need to realize that. For Randy, you are a champion of it.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Wow,
Beautiful.
beautiful. And my beautiful miracle man?
So I want to tell you, I am so shining brightly after this this session here with Randy and reading his book, because I feel like a champion. I feel it. Boom, boom. We're gonna go help others, lift them up, do what we do, and I just want to shine brightly with you all. You are my brothers and sisters, and I love you, my family.
Right back at you.
Beautiful. Oh, my beautiful Randy? Oh, the last word is for you. So please, could you tell us how are you feeling? And then can you give a last message to all the viewers out there? Thank you.
I can do that. Yeah. So first of all, just appreciate all of you being on the panel. Laura, Krista, Buddy, Sanique, Howard. I appreciate you guys. Every time I come in the room, I always feel at home. I look at you guys as family. This has been an amazing ride. The book has opened up so many opportunities, and I really believe this book has led me to you guys, and I'm looking forward to what's to come on future podcasts and future projects that we have going on in the near time future. I would like to close with this. It's not about ranking titles. It's just about the person. It's about the journey. Remember this. We all go through adversity. Adversity isn't going anywhere. But what you can do is you can take those adversities, use them as stepping stones, and we can rise above. And I end it with this. I'm a champion in kickboxing. We're all a champion in life. And I'm here as a coach, as a mentor, as to remind the world that champions don't have to be told what to do, just reminded. So I'm here to remind the panelists, I'm here to remind anyone that's listening, you are a champion in what you do. Keep your head up, rise above, and let's go kick the rest of this year right in the face. Love you guys.
Amen. Amen.
Fantastic.
I love it. My
Thank
beautiful
you.
Randy, my beautiful Laura, Krista, Batty, and Howard. Will you have a dance with me?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Here we go.
Oh.
Walking on sunshine or dancing in the rain. Sprinkle me with fairy dust so I can fly away. Smiling at a moonbeam or squinting in the sun. Sprinkle me with fairy dust and cover me
Bye bye,
with
everyone. Bye, everyone.